Hello, it is in the early morning and I'm riding my bicycle. Let me see if it is recording, just making sure. Yeah, it is recording. Okay. So, on this video, I'm going to talk about something which is something that you would only come up with if you have embodied language. And I have embodied language, so I come up with it. And so what is embodied language? To begin with, embodied language is very different from our usual disembodied language, because normally a person is basically involved in speaking with others, listening to others. But in embodied language, a person speaks with himself. And in this case, I'm speaking with myself and I'm listening to myself. And I speak in a very unusual way, because this way of talking makes me want to listen to myself. Yeah? And so in disembodied language, we don't listen to ourselves, and we don't even realize this. We don't even notice that we are engaging in a way of talking in which we are actually out of touch with ourselves, because when you don't listen to yourself, you are not in touch with yourself. So there is a huge difference between disembodied language, our usual way of talking, and the way of talking that I'm talking about, which is embodied language. Yeah. Now, as I was saying, embodied language makes you see things very differently. Actually, it makes you understand things very differently, because you are now listening to yourself, and before you weren't. So you were not using your language correctly. Yeah? Correct language is determined by listening to yourself while you speak. And incorrect language, it is inevitably emerging from your way of talking, in which you do not listen to yourself while you speak. And when I say correct or incorrect, I'm simply saying that your language doesn't fit with the reality. It doesn't fit with the reality of your own life, yeah, your own individual experience. I call that individually lived experience. But it also doesn't fit with the reality of life in general, so to speak. It doesn't fit with scientific reality. And so you have all kinds of conceptualizations with your disembodied language which are absolutely false. Conceptualizations about yourself, about others, about reality, which are, of course, also then burdening you and troubling you and causing you all kinds of problems which you wouldn't have if you have embodied language. Now, there is, of course, this issue which I've addressed very often, where a person believes with disembodied language that they have inner language. And we believe that we think, we believe that we have a mind, we believe that we can have a conversation in our head with ourselves. And this belief in inner language, it of course prevents us from paying full attention to what language really is, because language is not an inner phenomenon. Language doesn't exist inside of us. Yeah? So if you want to pay attention to language, you have to be true to the overt nature of language. Yeah? And so and to be true to the overt nature of language, you have to express yourself. Yeah? So that you can hear yourself. Yeah? And you can, of course, speak, and you can listen, and you can write, and you can read. So the overt nature of language is not about a fantasy of inner language. Yeah. The overt nature of language is truly about you not saying what you think, but saying what you are capable of saying what you want to say. Yeah. So, and it makes a big difference. Makes a big difference if you say it and hear it versus if you fantasize that you are internally saying it and internally hearing it, because there's no such thing. It doesn't exist. You're just fantasizing that you're hearing an inner voice. There's no inner voice. Yeah. Yeah, that is a big issue. So once you say to yourself what's going on, it is very different from what is going on when you are not saying it. Well, I guess that's what I wanted to say.